the silent struggle begins. Now, remember, this is a story within a story, and I should probably say first that I'm not celebrating the fact of bullying, and I'm not claiming that I'm a victim. I'm sharing stories that kind of connect one with each other. Like the stories kind of are stories within themselves, and then they connect together. And as an adult, I've been able to kind of connect the negative voices in my head to where they were planted when I was a child. And it was, a lot of them came from being bullied by my peers. And I'm not saying that they're at fault for any choices that I made in my life, but it definitely did have a significant impact on the choices that I did make. So the silent struggle begins. That is the name of this one. And you'll be able to find the vlog or blog posting in the comments below afterwards. Okay, so here I go. I'm just going to get started. So when I started school, it wasn't all bad. I made friends. I remember being very happy. I don't recall being bullied or teased that much in my first 3 years of school. I should probably mention we moved around a lot. I did kindergarten and grade 1 in Kelowna and grade 2 and 3 in Edmonton. In grade 2, I was fitted for eyeglasses. Nobody, including myself, knew that I was going blind until the correction was made. And it was like I saw leaves on the trees for the first time. Before that, everything was a big blur. I remember sitting close to the TV all the time, and I also remember that when I put the glasses on, I was like, oh my gosh, there's actually leaves on the trees, and this is actually just like it is on TV, because I didn't realize that the leaves outside were the same as the ones that I was seeing close up in TV. It was bizarre. It was like I was given these new things, new eyeballs that I could see. So, but they were really thick. Starting out in the early 80s with eyes that were about -6 a side meant big, thick Coke bottle glasses. And they were so heavy, I got sores on my nose. They made my eyes shrink to a pea size behind them, but they introduced me to a whole new world, like I had said, right? The trees and the leaves. So I remember my mom was so sad. She said the glasses hid my beautiful eyes and that I looked like my uncle. Well, my uncle, rest his soul, awesome man. He was also a very big man. He had Coke bottle glasses too. And I heard a lot that he was where I inherited my frame from. And don't get me wrong, it's not a bad thing, but an 8-year-old girl doesn't necessarily get excited about looking like a 40-year-old man. Some of my fondest peer memories come from grade 3 in Edmonton. I had the best friends, I had the best teacher, and my teacher's name is Mrs. Romprey, and if she ever reads this, I want her to know she had a significant impact in my life. She was the one who discovered me. She sensed I had a vivid imagination and a skill for writing. She encouraged me to do more, and quite often had me read my work to the class. I'm sure she did this with everyone. She was that teacher, the one you actually got excited to see. And I think everyone has that teacher. And do me a favor, if you have that teacher that you remember, put her name in the comments section below. I think these teachers that go the extra mile should really be celebrated. Just before grade 4, we moved to Prince George. This move was devastating to my brother and I because we both had really close friends. The agony of the move prompted my parents to decide that this would be the last move ever, no matter what it took, even if my dad had to look for work elsewhere. So grade 4 is where the bullying became an everyday occurrence. I did everything I could do to make friends, and maybe I tried too hard. I did find a couple of friends, but it wasn't the same vibe in the new school. I was new, and most everyone there had known each other and bonded in kindergarten. I overcompensated the situation by trying to be nicer. I learned that the nicer and the more giving I was, the more I could make others happy. Sometimes I would even make new friends this way. But once others would see we were friends, my new friend would get teased for being my friend, and that friendship would end. The kids would tell me that I was fat because I ate a lot, and so I stopped eating at school. I would either toss my lunch in the garbage or leave it in my locker until I couldn't stand the smell anymore. Not exactly my proudest moments, but at that young age, I just longed to be normal, and I wasn't quite sure what else to do. There was no way I would tell my parents about the daily torment. I was ashamed, and I didn't want them to know I was being ridiculed. I was embarrassed. I didn't want them to be disappointed in me. And above all, I didn't want to talk about it. I wanted the pain just to go away. I'd arrive home from school absolutely starving, and I would gorge in secret. I didn't want to feel judged. I began finding a soothing feeling in the food, a temporary fill, but it wouldn't last long. The words would ring through my head, "You're so fat because you eat a lot." I remember hearing about other girls throwing up after eating to lose weight. So I tried. I would gag, and I even tried tickling the back of my throat with a toothbrush. And no, it didn't work. So I would go to my room, shut the door, read, and eat some more in isolation. I read Blubber by Judy Blume about 6 times. I felt like she was my best friend. She understood me, but she was not in the schoolyard when I needed her. In time, I became content. I became content to be me. I had come to the resolution that this was how I get to live. I was dealt the bad hand in life. And I put on my happy face and learned to ignore the nasties. A little easier said than done. In grade 5, I finally found a friend. She was quiet and kind. I started going to her house after school a lot. We liked a lot of the same things. We had dance parties with Corey Hart. That dates me. We watched Purple Rain with Prince over and over again and played Barbies. We both knew we were kind of old to be playing Barbies, but she had the cool Barbie house and car and all the clothes and accessories a Barbie could ask for. And it was a lot of fun. Like, we could really be cool. I also joined a bowling team. It was something I became pretty decent at, but was often teased by teammates and adults that I had a lot of weight behind my ball. I started earning money through babysitting where I could play more Barbies, of course, with the kids. And with the money, I would buy cases of chocolate-covered almonds that I was supposed to be selling for my bowling team. They became my secret afternoon snack as I read more Judy Blume books, like Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. The characters in the books were like my best friends. They didn't judge me. I could be myself, and they were always there to relate to. In the real world, though, pleasing others was the only thing I felt I could do to be of any worth. I felt like I could talk to no one about this. I felt that it would show weakness to my peers and be embarrassing to share with my parents. I didn't want my parents to know because I thought they would be disappointed in me, as I said before. I didn't want people to feel sorry for me. I didn't want to admit there was a problem. It was so much easier to suppress my pain than to let everyone else in on it. I didn't want the teachers to know because that might jeopardize any sliver of a chance of getting people to like me. Day after day, I chose kindness and giving and secrecy. Day after day, my desire to feel accepted grew bigger and remained empty. Day after day, I learned how to give more. To be continued. And I also will have a link below where you could actually sign up to make sure that you get these every time I publish a new one. I'll make sure that you get it right to your inbox, as well as a lovely page where it's all organized, entry 1, 2, 3, 4, and beyond. I appreciate you sitting and listening in and being part. Part of the reason why I'm doing this series is because a lot of times we don't understand how much words when we're young can really stay with us throughout our lives. So it's also important to be aware, I think, as parents, when we don't understand why our kids aren't talking to us. I had a very valid reason not to say anything to my parents in my mind, in my young mind. So what can we do about bullying, and what can we do for our children if we suspect they might be bullied? And I think what would have been helpful to me, I'm not really sure. I think what was helpful to me is just those inserts, those confident boosting inserts, really to point out the things that we're good at, to point out the things that we are, are possibly gifted at, to find those in kids, and keep the stuff about our bodies disconnected from the person. I think a lot of times where we're meaning to give compliments, or we're meaning to give loving advice, and sometimes it's read in a negative way. And there are no golden rules. That's not what I mean. I don't have the handbook to how to stop bullying, but I think the more aware we are, and the more we talk about it, and the more we teach our kids just to love one another regardless, and how everything, I think we've been doing that for decades. But I think one of the things that's different now is that I was able to go in my room, and I was able to turn it all off, and I was able to go somewhere. And now with all these gadgets and social media, and our kids are always connected. And so there's a lot of silent stuff that goes on that we don't see. So I would say, the teachers and people around, they probably caught about 90% about what was going, or about 10% of what was going on, because kids are really good at keeping things secret, at keeping things on the down low. If this has struck a chord, please feel free to share the video, because attached with it later on, we'll have all the links below to get involved in the community. All right, thanks so much. Take care.